There's something sickening about waking up and not knowing how you got somewhere. I'm not talking about blacking out after drinking or falling asleep on the couch. I'm talking about waking up outside your house in the middle of the night, barefoot, freezing, and staring at your own bedroom window from across the street. That's what happened to me. That was the first time. I thought maybe it was stress, overwork, some weird sleepwalking thing. But then it kept happening. Not just waking up in strange places, but losing time. I'd look at the clock and suddenly hours were gone. My phone would be in a different place. Sometimes apps were open that I never touched. Sometimes I'd find food out on the counter, half eaten. But the worst was the night I checked my phone's photo gallery. There were videos, dozens, footage I never took, just me sitting, staring at the camera, or pacing, sometimes whispering things I couldn't understand, sometimes laughing. One video was me standing at the foot of my bed, just watching myself sleep. The last one, I leaned into the camera and whispered, "I'm not asleep. I just can't move anymore." That was when I stopped thinking it was just sleepwalking. Something was living behind my eyes, borrowing my body, and every night it was getting bolder. Worst part is, I think it's me, but not the version I want to be. The version that watches, that waits, that smiles when I blink. It started small. I'd wake up with my apartment door cracked open. Nothing stolen, no sign of a break-in, just a faint draft creeping in through the hallway. I'd wake up with my TV on, volume at 0, stuck on static. Once, I found my laptop open to a blank Word document that said, "How do you know you're the real one? I live alone. No roommates. No girlfriend. No one who has keys." So I started keeping a journal. Every night before bed, I wrote down the date, time, what I did that day. I even made a checklist. Teeth brushed, phone plugged in, door locked, yes. Next morning I'd check it, just to feel sane. But on the fourth night, someone had scribbled under my writing. That's not what happened. Same pen, same handwriting. I laughed it off. Maybe I was too tired and forgot I wrote it. Maybe I was messing with myself in my sleep. I even texted my friend Sam about it. He said I should probably lay off the horror podcasts. But then things got weirder. I started dreaming of my apartment, but wrong. The furniture was reversed. My bedroom window showed an alley instead of the street. There was no light anywhere, just shadows. Deep, pulsing shadows that moved when I wasn't looking. And in the dream, I could feel someone standing just behind me, always out of view, breathing, watching. I woke up one night with a bloody nose and fingernail scratches on my shoulder. It felt like I'd been fighting something in my sleep. I checked the security camera I'd installed by the bed, cheap motion detection, just in case I was sleepwalking. 2:47 a.m. The cam turns on. I'm lying still, dead still, like a corpse. Then my eyes open, but my body doesn't move. And then I sit up, like a puppet yanked by a string. Mechanical, jerky. I turn to look at the camera. Then the feed glitches out for 6 seconds. Static.
Kapeledi audio.
When it clears, I'm not in the frame anymore, and I don't come back. The next day, I found a Polaroid photo in my kitchen. I haven't owned a Polaroid camera in my life. The picture was me, sleeping, in my bed, but the timestamp on the back said 4:21 a.m., a time I had no memory of. That's when I knew this wasn't just sleepwalking. This was something else. Something smarter than me. It wasn't forgetting. It was being replaced. I called my older brother, asked if anyone in our family had ever experienced anything like this. He told me not to worry, just stress, maybe night terrors. But he didn't sound convinced. That night, I taped black cloth over every mirror in the apartment. I caught my reflection doing something out of sync once already, blinking after I did. I didn't need to see that again. But even with the mirrors covered, I felt it watching. You know that feeling when you're absolutely sure someone is behind you? I felt that all night. I refused to turn around. Just stared at the bedroom wall and counted my own breaths. The dreams got darker. Now the door had appeared. A tall, black door in a white room. It pulsed like it was breathing. In the dream, I stood in front of it. My hand reached for the knob, and I heard something whisper, "Let me out, just once. You'll feel better after." I always woke up sweating before I touched it, but then came the night I didn't. In that dream, I opened the door. What stepped out looked like me, but clearer, more confident, taller even. He didn't speak. He just smiled. Then I woke up standing in the street, 2 blocks from my apartment, wearing a hoodie I don't own. I stopped sleeping. At first, I told myself I just couldn't, but the truth was I was scared. Not of nightmares, but of what I might do while dreaming. Or worse, what I might let him do. I drank energy drinks like water, blasted music in headphones, tried podcasts, horror stories, documentaries, anything to keep my mind moving. But after 2 days without sleep, things got worse. I started seeing reflections where there were none. Flickers of myself in picture frames, in coffee spoons, in the glare on my phone, all of them staring just a little too long. And the sounds, God, the sounds. It started as a hum, deep and low, like a distant generator. I'd hear it when everything else was quiet. Then whispers. Not words, just syllables like a broken language looping in the back of my head. That night, I passed out at 4 a.m. sitting upright in the kitchen. I woke up 3 hours later in my bathtub. Water was running, fully dressed, soaked, and carved into the condensation on the mirror above the sink in blocky letters. "Thank you." That broke me. I called Sam, my best friend, begged him to come over and stay the night. I didn't even try to sound normal. Told him everything, every blackout, every mirror, every dream. I expected him to laugh, or worse, call a shrink. But when he showed up that night, he didn't look amused. He looked scared, because he'd received a voicemail from my number at 3 a.m. the night before. 20 seconds of static. And at the end, a voice that sounded almost, but not quite, like mine said, "Don't believe anything he says tomorrow." He played it for me. It was my voice, but there was no way I made that call. I showed him the tapes, the video clips, the Word documents that typed themselves while I watched. At one point, Sam said, Man, do you think there's a version of you that's more real than you are? I didn't answer. I didn't have to, because deep down, I'd already been wondering the same thing. 2 nights later, I fell asleep by accident. I'd taken melatonin, trying to knock myself out for once. My hands were shaking, my mind racing. I just wanted it to stop. When I woke up, it was still dark, but I wasn't in my bed. I was in the white room from my dreams, and in front of me stood the door, wide open. He was waiting, the version of me, except now, I wasn't sure if he was the copy, or if I was. He walked toward me with purpose.
Calm.
No expression, just those dark eyes, mirror versions of mine. And he said, "You've been borrowing this body for long enough." I couldn't move. My arms felt chained, my legs numb, my mouth wouldn't open. And he stepped into me, not like walking past. I mean through me, into me. I screamed, but no sound came out, and I woke up in my bed, gasping like I'd drowned. Everything looked the same,
Familiar.
but I didn't feel like I was in control anymore. It was subtle at first. I'd think a thought, and something would feel delayed, like I was sending commands to my own body instead of living in it, like a puppeteer pulling strings. And then came the handwriting. Notes appeared around the house again, in the fridge, on sticky notes, on the wall behind my bathroom door. They all said different things, but all in the same handwriting. My handwriting, but slightly off. Let go. This will be easier if you stop fighting. You're not supposed to be the one awake. The scariest part? I started agreeing. I felt stronger, sharper. My memory was better. My back pain went away. I was more confident, more alert, more present. I asked out a barista I'd been afraid to talk to for months.
She said yes.
I cooked real meals, called my brother, and apologized for not staying in touch. I even started drawing again, something I hadn't done since high school. Things got better, but then I found the sketchbook. I didn't remember drawing what was inside. It was all of him. My face, but sharper, angular, smiling with too many teeth, standing in a hallway with no floor, standing behind me in a bed I recognized, standing over someone else in their sleep. Then the last page. It was a sketch of me, asleep, and him peeling off my skin like a coat.
Smiling.
I tore it out and burned it in the sink. But I swear I heard laughter behind me.
Now?
I don't fight anymore. I sleep when he lets me. I eat when he's not using the body. And sometimes, when I close my eyes, I see what he's doing when I'm not here. Sometimes he just walks around the city, perfectly normal, says the right things, pays for groceries, smiles at strangers. Other times, he goes places I don't recognize, talks to people I don't know,
Takes things from them.
leaves them lying there, breathing, but not moving. I used to be afraid of losing myself. Now, I think I was the copy all along, and he was just waiting for me to wear myself out. He lives here now. He wears my face. He tells better jokes than I do, and I sleep inside him like a dream he hasn't finished having yet. Sometimes, just before I go under, I hear him say, "Thank you for keeping it warm." And honestly, it's a relief, because it means I don't have to pretend anymore. He does a better job being me than I ever did. And if someone else comes knocking, I hope he lets them out too.